How's it going, everyone? I want to welcome you to another episode of Dude I Love or Hate My New Ride Home Edition. Though normal people might not understand modified trucks, we enthusiasts like to make our vehicles stand out from the crowd and reflect who we are as people. So in this video, we're going to check out 3 degrees of modification because not every modified vehicle is done in the same way at all. And first, we're going to check out Ben and his 1999 F-250, which appears to be an incredibly clean truck. Let's give it a look.
Hey TFL truck. This is my 1999, actually an early 99 Ford F-250 Super Duty with the 7.3 liter Power Stroke engine in it. And I love this truck. I've owned it for over 8 years. Done a ton of things to it. Tried to keep it as OEM as I could, but as Power Stroke guys know and the 3/4 ton and 1 ton guys know, these trucks actually pretty much remain the same underneath the sheet metal since 1999 to 2016. And so this truck has had a lot of upgrades. I've done a lot to it. I've done the 05-07 facelift on it. Done some custom headlights that I've taken apart and painted with a light bar on the front. Fender flares. She's got 2008 mirrors, the big square mirrors rather than the smaller paddle mirrors that were on the trucks from 99 to 04. She's rolling on 20-inch Harley Davidson edition F-250 wheels, and they have KO2s on them. Done brakes and calipers on this truck, so it's kind of this is the first year of 4-wheel disc brakes on the Super Duties, or it's first year of Super Duty as well. But some things about the early 99s, they had a smaller turbo, they had smaller intake plenum, different injectors than the later 99 to 03 7.3s. There's a lot of really kind of weird things that the early 99s had, even down to the brake rotors are like 5 millimeters smaller in diameter than the later ones. So you have to, it's kind of a unicorn, you have to buy special parts, but they made a ton of them, so fortunately you can still get parts for them. Any guy that has a 7.3 knows they tend to get hot, so you got to have the A-pillar gauges. The interior of the truck is pretty much stock. I've got a tuner, it's a Hydra tuner. Power Hungry Performance gave me all my tunes according to the build that I did, all the new injectors, my turbo, non-wastegated, everything that I did. They tuned it specifically for the truck, but the interior of the truck is pretty much stock except for the A-pillar gauges. Looking at the gauges, I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's got 157,000 miles on it, so for being a 20-year-old truck, it really actually has fairly low miles for the year. But upgrades that I'd like to continue doing to the truck, I'd really like to swap the interior. Not sure if I'll do the dash or not, but definitely want to do the seats. Out of a newer truck. Like I said, you can go all the way up to 2016 on these trucks. It's got an 8-foot bed in it. I've used it for a slide-in camper. I've hauled a 5th wheel with it, which is what I currently have right now. Done a rear diff cover on it, Bilstein shocks. Got an auxiliary transmission cooler on it. S&B cold air intake. The snorkel comes all the way up to the front. Actually comes in through the side of the grill. Like I said, non-wastegated housing. Got a new adrenaline high pressure oil pump, which is what drives the high pressure oil to the injectors. That's the only thing that has left me stranded, was I got a different make of pump and battled with the manufacturer of it, and finally determined that it was wrong and it wasn't producing any pressure. And so I could get the truck to start sometimes when it'd go out on me. So after I replaced that pump, everything was good. Running a different wheel in the turbo on the compressor side, so I had to get a boost controller fooler that basically tells the computer it's not getting more boost than the PCM will allow it to. But overall, this truck is amazing. I can tow anything that I hook it up to. I've towed 14,000 pound dump trailers, pretty much anything I want. And it's just so reliable. It starts every time. Just a fantastic truck. And plan on giving this truck to my son when I'm done with it and he has more use for it than I do. Full 4-inch MBRP exhaust from the turbo back. Once again, helps keep that exhaust gas temperature cooler because they tend to run hotter when they're under load. But overall, I wanted to make sure that these older 7.3 Super Duties were represented, and especially the early 99s, because they can still be really good trucks too. Thanks for tuning in.
Well, thanks for sending in your truck, Ben, and I have to say that silver looks awesome on it, especially with the Harley Davidson style wheels, and it's such a clean truck, you know, it doesn't look heavily modified, and that's a great way to do it. That's what we would call sort of a factory plus type of build, and I think it's the perfect way to do up your truck because it's not too extreme. So for that reason, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Thanks again for sending it in. Next up, we have a 2013 Toyota Tacoma that was sent in to us by a viewer named Eric, and it's already a pretty interesting looking machine, so let's check it out.
Hey YouTube and TFL, welcome to my 2013 Toyota Tacoma double cab short bed. Fully built as an outdoor surf fishing truck, where I used it to fish along the Jersey Shore, Montauk, Assateague, and anywhere else I can go. Basically bought this thing in 2016 with about 36,000 miles, has about 120,000 now, no issues. Bought it bone stock and began to build it for surf fishing and outdoor use. So I'll go over some of the highlights and that'll be it. So fishing pole holders from Wilson in Australia, Light Force Venom LEDs to help see on the beach, and a Midland 6 dB gain GMRS antenna. Got the rigid 4DS stitch lights on the side. Those are amber. Basically use those to make sure when I'm night driving on the beach that I'm not going to drive down any cliffs and flip the truck. Put some Toyota FJ Cruiser OE 17-inch steel wheels on with Goodyear DuraTrack 255/75 17s. That's about 32.6 inches in diameter. Roof rack contains a Front Runner Slimline 2 roof rack with some tribute to Land Rover on there. I'm a huge Land Rover fan but don't own one. Have the Max Trax mounts by Front Runner, roof Nest Falcon rooftop tent. Tailgate cover is a cutting board made by Mountain Hatch, made in the USA. Have a ARB dual compressor, some sand spikes, a Snowmaster 42 TRS fridge, Australian Outback toilet, water port, more sand spikes, extra water, fishing pole I just bought, and usually a lot more goes back here. It's kind of hard to see, but I added some extra power and USB ports that are running on constant hot. Bed stiffeners to take care of the weight. Some scene lighting on the side so when you're night fishing you can see. There's the 180 23/0 awning and a safari snorkel. Not all the time are we on the beach, so I put some sliders on there by Mobtown Off-Road to make sure that we're not going to damage underneath the truck. I also have their aluminum skid plates as well. Got a solar controller from Zamp Solar in here, hooked up to a solar panel, which I'll show you. Fridge monitor, iPad, Garmin Overlander, radar detector, dash cam, and 100-watt Zamp Overland, 100-watt Zamp solar panel. Last but not least, we'll look under the hood. Show you how everything's powered up. Where we have a fuse block, breaker, mounted inside. Everything's powered through there, then connected to the battery. Fully insulated, protected, relayed. Not anticipating any issues. And the flux capacitor. That's really it, guys. I can go on and on and on. There's way more I didn't show you. If you're interested, check out Beach Taco 13 on Instagram. And hit me up with any questions you might have. Thanks, guys.
Well, thanks for sending in your truck, Eric, and I have to say the modifications on it look awesome, especially because it's specifically modified for fishing, which I absolutely love. This whole truck is basically a mobile campsite. I mean, there's almost nothing you can't do with it. I'm gonna have to give the truck a 10 out of 10 because an Overlander, especially one that's built on a Toyota Tacoma, is a great machine. Thanks again for sending it in. Now, everybody strap in for this last truck because this is the most heavily modified of all three, and it's not going to be for everyone, but it is cool because this 1995 Dodge Ram that was sent in to us by a viewer named Eric has a 12-valve Cummins diesel engine, which are legendary for their robustness and their reliability. That robustness and reliability depends on what you do with the motor, and this viewer, Eric, has done quite a lot with it, so let's give it a look.
The dude, I love my truck, and in this case the wife hates it. This started out life as a 95 Dodge Cummins turbo diesel. Obviously I've modified it quite a bit. The truck itself has 270 something thousand miles on it officially. I know I ran it for quite a while with all that stuff unhooked, so it's probably closer to 300,000. Bumper, we got a modified bumper. Obviously I built this at home, threw a winch on there. The front grille is actually the original stock bumper modified into a grill. We'll get into that part in a second. Fenders are custom built. Again, had fun with that. It's got a 3-inch lift and a 3-inch body lift, 37-inch tires. The tow mirrors and all that stuff, because I used to use it for towing. Now it's a little more of a toy. Rear fenders are custom. Put a little heavy piece of diamond plate back here just because that always takes a beating. Custom built this rear bumper because I thought it was cool. So inside we got the boost gauge, we got the fuel pressure gauge, EGT gauge, got a fuel consumption gauge here, got an intermediate boost gauge down here, and an intermediate EGT temperature here. This goes after the small turbo, before the big turbo. 5-speed manual, exhaust brake, trailer brake, obviously 4-wheel drive. We've got a Eaton M122 off a GT500 Mustang as a supercharger. That is blowing air into an HX40, which is also being fed by hard to see down in here, S475. So both of those push air into the HX40, pushes air into the intercooler, and then into the motor via a Banks twin ram intake manifold. We also have a water meth injection system. That's what this ammo box is. That's holds the water meth mix. Injectors are obviously oversized. I think I have 5 14s on there currently, maybe 5 16s, I forget right now. So obviously all the plumbing for the turbos and superchargers is custom. Did this all at home with welders, cutters, benders, etc. So it's a interesting little system. Had to build the whole setup for the supercharger to sit on, and manifold for it to blow into and bolt down to. Got this over here is the intermediate boost gauge. So this shows me how much boost the supercharger and big turbo are putting towards the small turbo, which then I have another boost gauge for that one. So I can see how much boost is being produced at both spots. There you go. Now you can see the big air filter. That one's for the S475 and feeds the other side of this system. The injectors I've had to replace after they melted this piston. It kind of destroyed everything. The injector stuck open and so I replaced them and went with bigger injectors because obviously the problem was it didn't have enough horsepower. No idea if it has recalls, had recalls. I'm guessing if I took it to the dealer, they wouldn't even recognize it at this point. So I fixed it anyway, so it doesn't really matter if it had a recall. I'll fix it myself. I know the front steering had some serious issues. I replaced all that with some Hemi joint stuff to get rid of the death wobble and all those issues. That's about all I can think of. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Y'all have fun.
Well, thanks for sending in your truck, Eric. I have to say, it doesn't really look like anything else out there on the road, for better and for worse. But what I will say is it's amazing that you have not only compound turbos on that truck, but also a huge supercharger. It's a good thing you've got plenty of gauges, because it is crucial that you monitor everything going on with that motor, considering the amount of boost that you're probably putting into it. And like you said, as long as you can work on it yourself, if anything gets broken because of that, it's all right. It's not that big of a deal. And I can tell that you're having fun with this truck, which at the end of the day is all that matters. So I'm gonna have to give this truck a 7 out of 10, especially because I respect 12-valve Cummins engines for their durability and their incredibly impressive design. They're great trucks. So thanks again for sending it in. And if any of you out there have other modified vehicles that you want to send in to us, please do. So here's Tommy to show you exactly how you can do that.
Hey, thank you for sending us your video here to TFL Studios so we can make it famous on Dude I Love My Ride Home Edition. Well, we noticed that a lot of people had some issues sending us files because emails are just not suitable for video. However, we do have a much better solution. It's a file service called WeTransfer, and WeTransfer is a way you can securely and safely and freely, we should say, send us your video files. That way the quality is better and there's no issues going down the road. So here's how you do it. If you're planning on using your cell phone to upload the files, like I think many of you will be, all you have to do is open up your browser, and this works both on Apple and Android, and type in tflstudios.wetransfer.com and then hit enter. Now it will take you to this page and you'll see a big button that says send a file. Click that and then tap I agree, and it'll give you a plus arrow where you can actually add your files. Add up to 20 gigabytes. So click that. I'm going to say photo library, videos, and then I'm going to select my video and hit done. So there you can see your video is added. In the message section, please add your name and your truck. So in this case, it'll be Tommy Micah, and the truck or car or whatever lawnmower is 2020 Nissan Titan, just so we know what's coming our way. And then click next. And then you plug in your own personal email. And what it'll do is send you a verification just to make sure you're a real person and not a robot, and click transfer. So it says verify your email. Go ahead and check your email and you'll see a code. And then go ahead and plug in your verification code. Alright, and verify. So once you're verified, you'll see it will upload your file to the internet, and you can see it going there. And then it will send a verification that you have completed your transfer and that we have received it. Now you can actually do the same exact process on a computer. It's just as easy. Let me show you. Here on the computer, it's the same exact process. So simply type in tflstudios.wetransfer.com and hit enter. And then here you'll see a little bubble that says add your files. So click on the file you want to add. Then plug in your email address, your personal email address, and a message. Once again, your name and your vehicle. So it'll ask you to verify your email again, and then you'll be ready to go. And we'll get your files a little bit quicker. It'll be a little bit easier. Well, thank you so much for contributing, and if you have any questions, email me, ask@tfltruck.com, and we'll help you through them.
Whether you love them or hate them, modded vehicles are all about having fun. And I can tell that each one of these owners has a blast with their machines, and that's all that really matters. Sure, modifications might affect your resale value or your reliability and warranty, but most of these owners that are doing modifications like this plan to keep their vehicles for a long time, and they usually prefer to work on their machines themselves, so it doesn't really matter. But anyways, that's all for this video. As always, this is no longer intern case, full-time employee case with the Fastlane car. Be sure to go back to TFL Truck, TFL Car, and TFL Off-Road for more news, views, and real-world reviews. Thanks everyone for watching, and stay safe.